welcome back to the second part of our tutorial. We left last week where we had just finished the blocks and now we're going to quilt them. And today I'm using iron-on wadding. It's nice and handy when you're a beginner to keep in place, so I'm just taking it over to the iron and we will press it. Always press from the centre out when you're doing any project, and it moves all the bulk to the outside. Okay, that's enough to hold it. Now we are going to quilt diagonally like that. So you have two options. You can use one of these erasable friction pens and draw your line. When you press it again, it disappears. And the same as the ironing, you actually start from the centre out with your quilting, so it distributes any excess out to the edge. Okay. Right, so we're just going to quilt that in a straight line. I'm changing my foot from the 1/4 inch foot there to my open toe applique foot, because I can see exactly where I'm stitching. Okay. So you have your open toe foot, needle in the centre, put it right in the centre like that. Now I always lengthen my stitch a little bit because your machine generally sets at 2.5 and I would go up to 3 just for quilting because it's easier. And you just follow your straight line there. I'm quilting all of this in the same thread. It's the thread that matches the dark grey. Okay. Now the second option, if you haven't got that, or if you prefer to use this, it's called quilter's tape, and you can lay it down there, but make sure you lay it to the side because you want to sew right along the edge there, not on the tape. So just lay it ever so slightly to the side and you will sew along that edge there. And this tape, when you have your line of stitching sewn, you can just lift the tape, reposition it. You can use it quite a few times before it loses its stickiness. I'm going to sew beside this time, not actually on it. And see how I've left it slightly to one side of the point there. Now we can lift the tape, okay, and reposition it again on this one. Okay, and you just stitch along there again. So you work outwards like that, and then when you have all done, you turn it around and you go this way, diagonally this other way. So it's all quilted. And sorry, just to show you there, that's the line we drew with the erasable pen. You can just see a little bit of it there. So we'll put the iron on it. And it's gone. So there are your two options. If you've got a straight eye, you can do it without either of these, but you do need a straight eye for that. Get it straight. Now when it's all quilted, we will trim it back to size. Trim back the wadding. Okay, so now it's all straightened up. We are ready to think about putting the back on it. Okay, so I have two pieces. That one and that one. I'm going to show you something slightly different for the back, just to use up some bits of scraps and to give just a bit of interest to the back. Now I am going to iron this down at about 2 inches, 1.5 to 2 inches. And what I would normally do is fold a piece of paper like this, iron my 2 inches, or draw my 2 inches. Bring it to the iron and you can fold it to there and press on it like that. That'll give you a nice straight line. And then we want to turn this into about 1.5 inches. So you turn your paper over, put your 1.5 inches on the other side. And slide it in there and you can iron it along that line. Now this is actually on the outside because I'm going to use up a few of our squares that were left. So what I'm going to do, our 2.5 inch squares, I'm going to fold them in half diagonally. Press them. Okay, fold them again. Okay, so the only raw edges are all along that side, and if you slip that in under there like that, do a row of them and you can machine edge along there. So when you're happy with the placement of your triangles, just put a pen in them like that to hold them in place while you're sewing. And these flower head pens are ideal for this job because they're nice and long and flat. You can sew across them. I'm just going to take this to the machine, still using your open toe foot, and stitch along the very edge there. Just take out all our pens here. That's your little bit of decoration on there. So now we are going to put the cushion cover together. So right sides together for this. So put that side down like that on the bottom. this one on top. That needs to have a finished edge on it as well, but we'll do that just to show you. Okay, and stitch that later. Pin this all around like that. Make sure you catch these side pieces here and keep your pins back from the edge as well. Make sure you catch the underneath one as well. Now that needs going to be trimmed, so just keep the pin away from the edge. Okay, and turn it over and trim it from this side. But we're going to sew from the other side, because if you try to sew from the wadding side, it'll get caught in your foot. Quite a few thicknesses there. Okay. So that's it. We're going to sew all around the four sides, turn it over, and you have your finished cushion the same as that one there. This one's just a wee bit smaller.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so there's your finished cushion sewn all around the four sides. Don't forget to sew that edge seam as well. You can't leave that raw. Forget that one. Okay, and now we will turn it inside out. Pushing out your corners. Take the ironing board. Quick press. Okay, and that's your finished cushion with your decorative back on it as well. Just a little bit of interest. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed that and you keep following us. Next project we will start on our next tutorial. Okay, happy sewing. Thank you.
Second it.
Okay.
Okay, go.